From Washington Community High School, Clutch Sports Media is live. Tonight, a high-powered Mid-Illini Conference girls basketball battle. It's the Dunlap Eagles and the Washington Panthers. These two squads shared some really good ones last season. The COVID-shortened 2021 spring campaign now squaring off for the first time in the winter of 2021 with 2022 hurtling towards us. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tory Gym. I'm Joey Wright, joined by Cody Roskins. Cody, this is about as good as it gets in the Mid-Illini Conference this season. Dunlap and Washington both in the top tier of this conference. Not saying they're the two best teams the conference has to offer this season, but they're certainly going to find themselves in that conversation as we unfold this campaign, and it kind of starts tonight.
Absolutely, Joe, and you kind of touched on it. The two teams you wouldn't necessarily say are 1 and 2. Washington definitely puts their name in the hat of that conversation, having a strong start to their season. Dunlap coming off a little bit of a slower style of a start, but both shared some very competitive games last year, and like we said, anything can happen here in the Mid-Illini.
Dunlap, as you alluded to, Cody, has come out a little slower than they would have liked. Just one win against 5 losses this season. Most recently, a loss to Morton. But a team that has as much talent as anyone in the conference has, and more on that in a moment. But again, referring to what you mentioned with the Washington Panthers, 7-1 here in the 21-22 season. Their only loss was to Springfield, a 5-point loss on November 20th. Since then, they've won 6 in a row. Rock Island, SHG, Normal West, Limestone, Pekin, and Normal West again have all gone down in order. And Washington, as much as we've talked about Dunlap and their talent, it starts with the Bradley commit, Claire McDougal, and the McKendree commit, Georgia Duncan, for these Panthers.
Absolutely, and of course we know that a couple of Bradley fans will be around here today to watch McDougal, but as we kind of look them down the roster, Joey, both teams filled with a little bit of talent again, though we mentioned coming off a bit of a slower start here for Dunlap, but for Washington, you look at them, just it's that 1-2 punch, and they're going to come at you fast and hard, and with this style of defense they play, very sound on that side of the court, and the half-court style of defense. They're going to try and force a lot of turnovers, and they won't give up a lot of mismatches either.
Eagles looking to stem the tide and turn things around. They've got the talent and the ability to do it, and as we zero in on the Eagles visiting team tonight, now heading towards the bench along with the Washington Panthers, Sophia Remmel and Lily Sutter, the dynamic duo for Dunlap.
Yeah, and again, it's going to have to be a big night for one of those two. Probably both of those two, Joey, if Dunlap's going to try and hang around into this game and see how they look early in this one. You got to come out with energy against a team you're probably not favored against, and you got to have that, you against the world mentality. This is kind of the approach the Eagles have to take here tonight.
Eagles this season, mentioned that one win. That was against Limestone on November 24th. They have fallen to Peoria Notre Dame, Peoria, O'Fallon, and most recently Morton, Mid-Illini Conference rival, on Tuesday. National Anthem is upon us. We'll pause when we get there for that, but glad you're with us tonight on ClutchSportsIL.com. Want to thank our entire crew, Jonathan Michael, Rodrigo Perez, and Josh Schwam, along with Cody Roskins and myself, Joey Wright. Excited to be with you on a cool and rainy Friday night. Luckily, we are inside the Tory Gym at Washington Community High School. Both head coaches getting ready to share a word. Looks like Kim Barth, Washington Panthers head coach, was heading over towards the Dunlap bench. Actually, looks like she's going to go grab something from the training room quick. But the coaching matchup for these teams just as compelling. Kim Barth for the Washington Panthers and Heather Cassidy for the Dunlap Eagles. Of course, Heather Cassidy, an Indiana Hoosier in her day, terrific player. They run disciplined squads, Cody. They run competitive squads, and two great coaches just run programs the right way.
Absolutely, and that's exactly the hallmarks you want to have in a program: sound defensively, sound in the details and the attention to detail in the game, and it makes coaching so much easier. You can build off strong foundations like that.
It certainly does, as we are in a little bit of a holding pattern, getting ready for the national anthem. Glad you're with us again on ClutchSportsIL.com. Tonight starting a triple header here at Washington Community High School this weekend. Tomorrow we have the Washington Panthers and the Eureka Hornets girls game at 2:30 in the afternoon, and that leads right into Washington and Morton boys basketball at 6:30. Of course, that was one of the better boys basketball games we saw last season. Washington getting the job done in that one. A big Drew Lewis block late in the game. So some good basketball for you on our airwaves this weekend. As we will now pause for the national anthem here at Washington High School. Stay with us. Clutch Sports Media's coverage of Mid-Illini Conference girls basketball continues after the anthem. A terrific rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. Cody, I think the little delay we had getting into that was so they could get that microphone set up, and it's a good thing they did. I hope our microphones did a good job of doing that justice, because that was a nice little rendition of the anthem to get things going tonight.
Absolutely, Joey. You and I are both big fans of when you can do it in-house, so to speak, at the student choir, student band doing it, so nice to see. Absolutely.
And that gets things going tonight. The starting lineups being introduced. First, the visiting Dunlap Eagles. Eagles in black tonight, Panthers in white. And starting things off for the Eagles, Julia Solberger, going to be a big part of the Eagles offense tonight. There's Sophia Remmel, Eagles junior, can fill the basket up. Seemingly it will. Maybe the best scorer on this Eagles team. There's Brianne Erickson. Erickson's going to be a key part of this as well. Lily Sutter, number 12 for the Eagles tonight. And another junior for these Eagles getting the start. That's Peyton Haley. For the Eagles, of course, coached by Heather Cassidy, mentioned at the top of the show, Cody, keeping an eye on that duo, Remmel and Sutter.
Yeah, Remmel and Sutter, Joey, again, just a two-headed monster coming at you, and they can do it a variety of different ways, down low and step outside as well. It's going to be tough to key on the both of them.
Eagles fans may remember Dunlap's 3 overtime win at Metamora last season. Sutter was a big part of that, big on the defensive end, and had 18 points. And now the Panthers being introduced. White uniforms, home team tonight. Good crowd on hand to cheer on their Panthers. Georgia Duncan is on the floor along with Claire McDougall. Rounding out the starting lineup, Carly Vaughn, Alexa Mail, and Lucia Wilson for the Panthers, coached by Kim Barth. And just as we talk about that duo for Dunlap, Cody, it's really a game of duos. Georgia Duncan, Claire McDougall. McDougall, of course, committed to play basketball for Andrea Gorski nearby at Bradley University. Kind of where this Panthers team gets their start.
Yeah, and all eyes will have to be on McDougal first, Joey. Again, we knew that Dunlap's going to have to try and weather the storm here early on and show a little bit of grit and grind here as they're going to try and have to get out and to a fast start, I'd imagine.
Glad you're with us on ClutchSportsIL.com. Friday night basketball underway. Eagles win the tip and bringing it ahead is Solberger. Now goes to Sutter. Sutter down low, puts it up over Duncan, and that's how the scoring starts tonight.
Yeah, and that'll be an encouraging sight if they're able to go over the top of the length of Washington early.
Vaughn stops, doesn't have anything. Her pass blocked, now gets it out to McDougal, who has a lane and a basket.
Yeah, too easy. You can't give up baseline at the high school level, and a great D1 commit like McDougal will take advantage of that every time.
She will make you pay. Here's Solberger now fouled by Wilson. First foul we've seen tonight. Comes 39 seconds into the contest. So Solberger will inbound. Goes to Remmel. Remmel picked up by McDougal. Now goes to Sutter. Her pass tipped by Wilson. Handled up top by Erickson. Bree Erickson now goes to Remmel. Remmel, little contact there. Feeds. Finds Erickson. Turnover. Panthers send it the other way. Here's Vaughn bringing it up. Vaughn's pass to Wilson at the wing. Wilson goes back to Duncan. Duncan can score from anywhere on the floor, as can anyone on the floor for the Panthers, and Addison Kimler has her first points of the night. Panthers, or rather the Eagles, quickly on the other end in a turnover. And Cody, that's why pace can be so important.
Absolutely, Joe. But going back to that last bucket by Addison Kimler, does a great job of facing up, immediately attacking with the right hand, just leaving the defense in the dust.
.90 seconds gone by, 4-2 Washington, and a foul is called. First foul against the Eagles tonight. And that will go against Solberger. That'll be her first personal, team's first as well, and it'll be the first appearance for Tanaya Cummings, who comes in for Erickson. Bree Erickson to the bench. Tanaya Cummings into the contest. Duncan on the inbound, goes to McDougal. McDougal, nice pass to Kimler. Free throw falls.
Got to close out on shooters, Joey, even if it's from the free throw line. Kimler now with 4 of the 6 for Washington, and maybe that's going to be another weapon to this Panther offense down the stretch.
Cody, I don't remember if it was you and I, or maybe me and Gavin Russell, John Camosa, whoever it was. I think we were having that conversation in this gym for the Tournament of Champions a few weeks ago. Really good teams have a really good attack from the mid-range.
Absolutely. The mid-range is a lost art, Joey. A lot of teams don't even coach it anymore, especially at the high school level with the way that the professional game trickles down to college and college to high school. They just, analytics say it's not a good shot anymore, but if you can have someone who can consistently hit the mid-range at that elbow line or free throw line extended, that's just another facet of your game that's just tough to guard.
Good tool to have in the belt. Here's Duncan. I think that's a deep 2, doesn't fall. Loose ball rebound, out of bounds. Remmel did a good job of fighting for it, but comes down on the baseline, and the Panthers will inbound.
Yeah, and again, Kimler in the mix of it, again, trying to battle for the OR and just coming up short with it.
Vaughn feed down low to McDougal, and McDougal has her second basket of the night. Increases the Panthers' lead to 6. Panthers with 8 points, vying for their 8th win of the season tonight against 1 loss. Dunlap looking for win number 2. Mid-range from Solberger doesn't fall. Rebound corralled by Wilson, and Wilson will take it ahead. Now McDougal. Pop to Duncan, and Duncan did all she could to keep that one, Cody, but all for naught. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, not the greatest pass and catch combination that time. As the first stoppage on the floor, Joey, already an 8-2 lead. Dunlap's going to have to come out and trying to find a way to get into that heart of the defense down below the free throw line, and so far they've had no luck in doing so.
Take a quick break to remind you tonight's coverage, as you can see at the bottom of your screen all evening long, is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois, for all your insurance needs. Jake Weston is your guy. Give him a call at 309-444-4441. or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Jake Weston, State Farm in Washington, Illinois. Good time to defer to the coach, Cody Roskins. Coach Roskins, what's caught your eye for Dunlap here in these opening 3 minutes? Only one basket so far, but only down 6.
They're just having trouble getting the ball down low. Not even fronting the post, so they finally get down to the low block. That's a tough shot going towards the baseline. You cut yourself off some room there, but an encouraging sight. But again, Joey, they've just had trouble getting the ball down low.
3 on the way, off the back iron, and a foul called. And Cody, that last sequence, exactly what you were talking about. Dunlap trying to get something from the block, but Washington doing a good job of walling up down low and eliminating it entirely or forcing bad looks.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Washington does a great job. They don't front the post necessarily, but as you see there, they choke off right as soon as they get to the block on the double teams. And with active hands with the defender in front, there's just no passing lanes.
See if the Eagles can open something up here. Here's Remmel, fakes back to Cummings. Now Solberger trying to go in on Wilson. Had a lane, no basket. Cummings the board, no. Still loose. Chasing it out is McDougal. She'll let it go, and Dunlap will maintain possession. So Cody, does Dunlap maybe start looking to the perimeter, start looking towards the mid-range, try to open things up elsewhere on the floor?
Not yet, Joey. It's only 8-2 as we're in the first quarter still. 4 minutes to go. Still got plenty of time as they've got 2 bodies down low and get called for the traveling violation. But just sticking with that point, they had some opportunities on the baseline. He had back-to-back bunnies on the doorstep, just couldn't convert.
Bit of an uncharacteristic mistake there from Remmel, and we will have a called timeout. This will take the place of our mask timeout, and it is a full timeout called, I believe, by Dunlap here. Heather Cassidy wants to talk things over. There's the Washington Panthers bench. Panthers, as we've mentioned, 7-1 on the campaign, looking for win number 8, picking up just where they left off last season. They bring back almost everyone they had from last season's team that nearly won the Mid-Illini Conference tournament. Kim Barth going over the game plan. What's the Washington huddle like right now?
Well, I think that she's just preaching to the same thing she started out the game with. They've done a good job of keeping the ball out of the paint. There's a saying that the Bradley basketball, you got to protect the paint, protect each other, right? And if you protect the paint, that really takes away long rotations, which is anywhere from that baseline skip pass or having to have one man and help go all the way and flash out to another offensive player. And that just helps keep everybody out of foul trouble, stay in their lanes defensively, and really that's why they've been able to choke off so much of the paint.
Fouls look good for both teams in the opening 4 minutes. 2 fouls for Washington, just 1 foul for Dunlap. Running total of that all night long on the bottom of your screen. And here's McDougal. McDougal goes to work, kicks corner. Washington swings it around. Good ball movement here, back to McDougal. Also on the floor for the Panthers right now, Vaughn Kimler. Kimler misses the 3 along with Duncan and Wilson out of bounds. Panthers will maintain.
Again, though, Joey, so far we're just seeing Washington dominate the 50-50 balls. When it comes to chances for offensive rebound, Washington's taken a lot of advantage of that. So far, Dunlap really can't buy a defensive rebound.
Pass intended for McDougal. She gets it. It bounced off of Peyton Haley. Fresh into the game for Dunlap is Chandler Fassett. Here's Duncan, double teamed, short, rebound, nearly got the and one to fall, and she'll get 2 at the line. 5 on the floor right now for the Eagles real quick. Lily Sutter alongside Sophia Remmel, also on the floor. Chandler Fassett, Julia Solberger, and Peyton Haley. First free throw from Duncan falls.
Yeah, going back to that last sequence of events there, Joey, great flash into the high post, able to grab and go, going downhill with authority. Good job chasing down her own miss as well, going up strong.
That's why Georgia Duncan's going to continue her career at the next level. Going to Play ball at McKendree. Down low, off the mark is Remmel. Duncan takes it ahead. Duncan stops, brings it back out. Ball fake. Now it's McDougal going to work. It's Kimler now. Now Wilson, floater, falls. And Washington having a lot of success. Cody not only moving the ball around, but finishing.
Yeah, and again, Joey, it's what I was talking about with Dunlap. They've just been stuck in the long rotations with their help defense. They just can't really match up man-to-man once they give up that first blow-by drive. And Washington's been a complete 180 of that. They haven't given up a single long rotation.
Panthers strong on the defensive end of the ball, now trying to build on their lead. The lead stands at 10, largest of the evening so far. If you're just joining us, Panthers locking down on the defensive end and finding a lot of success on the offensive side of the ball. Foul called there on the Eagles and Sutter. Duncan to McDougal, look at that find. Fading away is Kimler. Not really a fadeaway so much, she went straight up and knocked it down.
Yeah, maybe floated a little bit, but that time again, McDougal just acting as the crossing guard, moving traffic around here and there and able to find the open man.
Hand check foul. Third of the game on the Panthers. And Cody, you get the feeling this might be the biggest possession of the game so far for Dunlap. They've got to stem the tide.
Absolutely, Joey. I mean, Dunlap, again, they've had some quality looks. Again, it's just a matter of it going down finally, and so far they've only had one, and I know that's going to be a little discouraging to hear, but that's just a matter of the fact, Joey. They've got to be able to finish off those close-in looks.
No finish there. Duncan pushes ahead for the Panthers. Look at that. Stops and goes back and gets it to fall. Georgia Duncan continues a strong start for the Panthers. Their lead up to 14 points. Dunlap needing a response. It's Remmel.
It's going to be 5 closely guarded.
Indeed, and another unforced error there. Panthers defense continues to lock down the Eagles at every corner. You know, Cody, Clutch Sports Media was in the house last year for Washington Metamora girls contest and then the boys contest. I don't remember if it was later that night. I don't think it was. I think it was later in the week. However, it played out. I know we saw a lot of Washington Metamora last year, and the Panthers found themselves on the opposite end of this kind of start, fell down something like 19-2 in the early going. And Metamora wound up cruising to a victory that morning. Of course, a lot of these Panthers returning, having played on that season. Maybe they took that and maybe being on the other side of that provides a little experience, and you kind of know how to handle a situation where you're on that kind of run to start the game. 16-2 run to start things out. Yeah,
with less than a minute to go here in the first period, Joey. Dunlap, I like the idea of not taking a timeout. It really doesn't serve you much good with the quarter break coming up, but you've got to get back to the drawing board offensively. You've got to try and find a way to either run some people off of screens, get open looks on the perimeter, or you've got to try and find a stronger post-up option.
Dunlap not out of this one yet, but there is work to be done, and the Panthers looking to continue building. 3 passed up in the corner now. Here's Vaughn. Vaughn goes back to the corner, now fed down to McDougal. McDougal goes back to Carly Vaughn. Vaughn in trouble, goes to Georgia Duncan. Duncan, 10 seconds on the clock. Her 3 off the mark, and Dunlap could finish the quarter with a shot. In trouble right now is Fassett. Still loose. Kimler at the buzzer gets it to fall. And Washington has all the momentum in the world as the first quarter, comes to a close.
Yeah, and Dunlap, again, just unable to get out of their own way so far. Defensively, not much being sold up right now. And on the other side for Washington, Joey, like you said, I mean, these girls couldn't miss right now.
Panthers ahead by 16 points. One of the best opening frames you'll see. And we'll take a quick break here as we approach the second quarter to remind you tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm Insurance in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, give Jake Weston a call at 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Glad to have Jake Weston aboard tonight. It's an easy number to remember, but if it slips your mind, it's on the bottom of your screen all night long. His office near the square here in Washington, where we are tonight. Clutch Sports Media in with you from the Raymond R. Torrey Gymnasium. I'm Joey Wright alongside Cody Roskins. The rest of our crew, Jonathan Michael, Rodrigo Perez, and Josh Schwab. It's going to be a party in that square if the Panthers keep it going. Cody up 16 here entering the second quarter. Not necessarily that Dunlap has played poorly so much as Washington has just been the aggressor. They've found the open looks and gotten the job done.
Yeah, and once again, we're seeing now Dunlap shift out of the zone, back into man-to-man.
Panthers swinging around. See if the man-to-man look favors the Eagles here. Here's McDougal. McDougal goes, finds, Wilson, who doesn't get it to go. Rebound corralled by Remmel, and Remmel fouled by McDougal. Panthers keeping that aggression up, and that's an example of that right there. McDougal immediately the foul on the inbound, or rather the rebound.
Yeah, and again, that time she's just trying to steal possession on the jump ball, gets called for the foul, but with the way her defense has been playing, you really don't need to gamble like that, but early in the game, you got your first foul to give. We'll give it a shot.
Remmel guarded by McDougal, fading away and getting it to go, and Dunlap is back on the board. Sophia Remmel, and she can spark a run. Dunlap, as I mentioned, not out of this if they can start executing. Here's Wilson. Wilson signal calling, gets open. Now feeds to McDougal. McDougal to Kimler, who's fouled on her way up by Peyton Haley, and 2 free throws coming up for Kimler.
And I would hate to say you would do this early, Joey, but if I'm Dunlap, I'm double teaming anytime McDougal gets the ball. Whether she can't, you just have to make sure she isn't the one that beats you tonight. Like, you've got to find a way to either take away her scoring options or cut off the passing lane. Just put some hands near her face. That way she can't see all the cutting offensive weapons for Washington. Because right now she is dicing them up.
Would you say she's been the most impressive player in this one thus far?
Oh, absolutely.
We will get updated point totals at the half. Curious to see how many she has. I would figure, of course, leading the Panthers in scoring right now.
Yeah, her and Kimler at least have to have half or more of their total points.
And Kimler has had maybe the best last 2 minutes. She had the buzzer-beating layup to end the first quarter, and a couple of free throws there. A block, and the Panthers will run it. Panthers in transition. There's Kimler again. Gets fouled. They'll call that on the floor. No free throws for Kimler this time. Had she finished that, that would have been an assist for Georgia Duncan.
Yeah, it just seems like Kimler right now is just feeding off the great passing from the rest of the Washington Panthers. She's cutting to the high post, able to get down to the low block. She's kind of doing all the little things right now to set her team up well.
And now perhaps Kimler will shoulder the load a little more so as Duncan heads to the bench for the first time tonight. Kimler, after some trouble, gets it on the inbound. Eagles defense did a good job of defending there, making that one tough for the Panthers. Here's McDougal. McDougal goes over to Carly Vaughn. Vaughn picked up along the perimeter.
Again,
Remmel and Erickson, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they're going to stick in this zone, which is kind of like a matchup 2-3 right now, they're just trying to match up out of the 2-3 zone. Joey's, I chew on my words there for a second, but again, you see a great job of choking down as soon as McDougal tries to put the ball down and make an advance. That's what they have to do to get that ball out of their opposition's best player's hands.
Sutter no good, just inside the line. Double team there. Sutter and Remmel get in and force the Panthers to hurry up there. That'll be a foul called. And they will call that against Sutter. Georgia Duncan back in for the Panthers. Sutter out for the Eagles in her place. It's the return of Peyton Haley.
If I'm Dunlap right now, Joey, I'm just telling my team we're okay. We're still in this. 16 seems like a lot, but you just have to win the next dead ball timeout, I guess is kind of how you would put it. You have to win that. Just make sure you don't give up any ground. Stick around with Washington, see if you can edge out a couple of sessions here in a row.
Never like to compare sports, especially across different levels, high school, college, NFL, but I know you and I enjoyed watching the Pittsburgh Steelers almost come back, what would have been the largest comeback in NFL history last night, 29 points. Couldn't do it, but came close. Out of bounds. It'll stay with Dunlap. But for as much firepower as Dunlap has, 16 points in the early stages.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. But if you make it manageable, get it to maybe 10 points before the halftime break. Still plenty of basketball left to be played.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm harping on is get a good drive. That's what you need more of. The only thing I would have critiqued there is just jump stop, go off of 2 feet, and if they're going to foul you anyway, at least you're going to get a better look at the rim.
2 free throws coming up for Haley. Foul on Kimler. Kimler's first. Haley off on the first, but if you can get to the line, of course, that can add up later on. If you can get the Panthers foul trouble, attack Kimler, attack Duncan, McDougal. Put that one in the back pocket for later on. Second free throw falls for Haley. Now McDougal runs the offense. Kick to the corner, and Wilson goes back to Duncan and back to Wilson. Picked up along the perimeter by Bree Erickson. Now up top, Vaughn, go ahead.
In this 2-3, it's a lot easier to break it if you can get the pass into the high post like they are here to Kimler.
Frees up Georgia Duncan, 2 steps in, the shot falls, and Georgia Duncan scoring from everywhere on the floor tonight. Now here's Remmel attacking, going to work, and knocks it down. Eagles offense heating up. Panthers offense has stayed hot. Here's McDougal in transition. Pass swatted away by Remmel.
I like the idea that time of Dunlap, trying to get up and press on the ball, Joey, try and steal some possessions here, but if you're going to do that, you have to have enough trust in your one-on-one defense if McDougal's just going to drive by you.
Deep 2 doesn't go, out of bounds. That'll be touched last by the Eagles, and Georgie Kirtley, who is into the contest. First time we've called her name tonight. You know, Cody, you know what I don't think we've seen tonight? 3-pointer.
I think you're right.
Both teams kind of playing in that mid-range. We've seen a couple of deep 2s. I don't know that we've even seen a 3 attempted.
We saw the long 2.
Yep. Yeah, Duncan had that 3, or the deep 2 in the corner. I don't even remember that falling. And the perimeter has been kind of quiet tonight.
Oh, and the inside's working. It's broke. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly right. Travel there. Kirtley was looking to the corner and Cummings. Unable to get the pass off cleanly, and a 30-second timeout called by Washington. That'll take the place of our masked timeout, and that will be a full timeout, as it is our mask break. And you see the Dunlap Eagles getting ready to talk shop and see if they can cut into this deficit. Anecdotally, of course, don't have stats. We'll get those stats at the halftime break, but Dunlap has found a couple of things to go their way offensively last few minutes. Problem is Washington has kept the foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah, it's just tough to score when you've got to go up and down the floor 8-9 times in a row, having succeeded a couple of baskets. And once you kind of get a couple in a row on your offensive side, it's just up to that defense. And right now, this no results, I guess I should say, to the intensity they're trying to play on defense. Haven't been able to buy a rebound and haven't been able to force a miss.
Panthers have been very efficient from the field tonight.
Again, though, Joey, Dunlap's had a little bit more success of forcing the ball out of McDougal's hands, whether it's forcing turnovers or the occasional shot. They can just force it out, and that time another mid-range jump shot on the broken press, but just sticking with that, Joey, is now that's another foul on McDougal.
McDougal's going to have to watch out. That's her second foul. Still about half of the second quarter left to be played here. And that time, Georgia Duncan just got back quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, and again, though, Joey, this Washington team is not going to give up no matter how much they're up by. And so if you're Dunlap, you just have to say, okay, we're going to deal with it and try and orchestrate the offense to string together a couple buckets. And, of course, eventually you're going to have to get a couple stops.
Got to keep firing on the offensive side of the ball. Here's Remmel stepping back. Would have been the game's first three had it fallen. Didn't go. If you're Dunlap, you don't hate that shot, though, as maybe a spark plug, kind of something to ignite a run.
Yeah, they just need to see a couple go in here, Joey, but it's going to start defensively. If they can get a couple stops in a row, you got to let the defense dictate the offense.
Georgia Duncan for three. First three-pointer of the contest. It's Georgia Duncan. Who else in the lead up to 20 points for the Panthers? Dunlap tries to respond. Rebound corralled by Addison Kimler and a foul. I believe that was against Peyton Haley down low. And it is her second foul. Seventh team foul, so Kimler in the 1-and-1 bonus.
And with under 3 minutes to go here in the first half, Joe, you haven't managed to get to double digits yet. You have to just keep telling your team, not necessarily that this is a 0-0 ball game, but you have to come out with the effort that it's a 0-0 ball game. And so far, just looking at some of the body language on the court for the Eagles, there's not necessarily the woe is me, but when is the lid finally going to come off the basket?
First free throw falls for Kimler. Waiting the second, and it falls. Dunlap has gotten some good looks. See what they can muster up here. Offensive opportunity. Remmel pass was tipped. Wilson got a piece of it. Remmel goes to work down low and a charge.
And you're probably better suited just kicking that one to the corner, Joey. Again, Washington does a great job of sealing off the paint. That's why they've held Dunlap to 7 points through almost a full half.
I know the season is young. We're not quite to the midway point of December yet, but this is as complete a game as we've seen on ClutchSportsIL.com this season. Washington doing everything right now, offensively, defensively. They've got the hustle plays down. Here's Duncan going to Kimler, back to Duncan. That's been a winning combination tonight, and it continues. Eagles offensively here needing a basket. Washington lead has swelled to 25 points. And the game's opening 14 minutes. It'll be a jump ball, first jump ball we've seen tonight, and it'll stay with Dunlap. Remmel out and Sutter in for Dunlap. Inbound and a whistle because there was some confusion. Referee didn't catch that. I don't think I caught that. Initially, Washington tried to inbound the ball, maybe pull a fast one.
Well, nobody said anything, so it's like
might as well.
Definition of stealing a possession, I guess.
They put a stop to that. Eagles get the ball back. Floater from Erickson, no. Rebound Cummings, and she puts it up off the glass.
Again, if you're gonna trap, you have to prevent him from taking the sideline.
Travel there, and Dunlap will take over. And Sophia Remmel back into the game for Dunlap. Coming out is Peyton Haley. So the Eagles, after scoring on a possession nearly taken from them. Trying to build on that. Remmel can't send it down. Washington has done a good job of holding Dunlap's star power relatively quiet tonight, and Georgia Duncan off on that three has stepped up with Addison Kimler to key the way for the Panthers. Duncan knocks that pass out of bounds, and it will stay with Dunlap. Official points coming up for you out of the halftime break. But if you are just joining us last few minutes, key players to know, Duncan and Kimler. Kimler picking up the foul there. Cummings got fouled, and that'll put her at the line in the 1-and-1 bonus.
I don't know, Joey. That's really good help defense right there. I know it's kind of a lopsided game right now, but you still have to let them play. And Kimler does a good job of sealing off the front of the rim and trying to go down and grab the ball, but referee's called it a foul. Going to go and put him to the line, and maybe this will spark some Dunlap points. Under a minute to go. We've got to try and cut into this just a little bit.
Cummings' first free throw at the line, no dice. .43 seconds left here, second quarter. Washington shows no signs of holding for the final shot. Pass goes over to Carly Vaughn. Panthers did bring Avery Strickler into the game for the first time tonight a moment ago. She'll get back on the defensive end. Eagles push. Down low, Cummings. Cummings, no dice off the glass. Loose ball, jump ball. That'll go to Washington. And the Panthers will have 20 seconds to end the first half with a basket.
Again, Joey, the Panthers do a great job of breaking that 2-3 matchup zone. They're getting into the high post, and if you're Dunlap, you have to choke that ball back out. You have to have one of your top guards come down and force that ball elsewhere. You have to get it out of the high post and out of the paint.
10 seconds left for the Panthers. They nearly put it on the ground. They get it back to Vaughn. Vaughn goes over to Wilson with 3, with 2, pulls up a free throw off the mark. Put back falls, but it's after the buzzer sounds. And that's how the first half will end. Washington leading Dunlap 32-9.
Yeah, Joe, just a dominant half of defensive basketball by the Panthers. A clinic really defensively on how to break down, I guess, an offense, so to speak, and then on the opposite end, break down a 2-3 zone. And it's been all Washington so far.
Panthers ahead at the break by 23 points. They have put together a complete effort, and they have earned the margin with which they lead by at halftime. Halftime entertainment taking the floor right now. We'll take this time to remind you that tonight's coverage is brought to you by Jake Weston State Farm Insurance in Washington, Illinois. For all of your insurance needs, give Jake Weston a call at 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Jake from State Farm, his office just outside of the square in Washington, Illinois. Glad to have Jake Weston aboard tonight and throughout the season. If that number slips your mind, you can check it out. Bottom right of your screen, that big red box. It's tough to miss. 309-444-4441. As we prepare to take our own break for halftime, we'll kill the audio, come back in a few minutes, recap the first half, and preview the second half. Georgia Duncan has 12 points at halftime here to lead all scorers. I want to thank Josh Schwam for that, and we'll round out the scoring for you when we come back. For Jonathan Michael, Rodrigo Perez, Josh Schwam, and Cody Roskins, Joey Wright saying stick with us. Back for the second half after a quick break. Welcome back to Washington, the Raymond R. Torrey Gymnasium, the site of Clutch Sports Media's coverage of live Mid-Illini Conference girls basketball. Entering the second half, the Washington Panthers have found home court to be to their advantage thus far tonight. They lead 32-9 over the Dunlap Eagles. And Cody Roskins, what do you think has been the catalyst for a 23-point lead here entering the second quarter? Washington seems to have played as complete a game as we've seen all year.
Well, for starters, their defense has surrendered little to nothing. Joy, they've done a good job of, once again, cutting off the paint and lanes to the basket. And on offensive end, they've done a good job of getting the ball into the high post and really breaking down that matchup 2-3 zone.
Dunlap can't fire on its first possession. Mentioned just before the halftime break that Georgia Duncan leads all scorers for Washington with 12 points. She has outscored Dunlap by herself. Add in another 12 points from Addison Kimler. Good effort from Kimler here in the early stages. 3 on the way from Erickson, doesn't fall. Knocked out. Duncan keeps it in, and she'll take it up and ahead. Now shovels. Here's Vaughn. Vaughn was looking for Kimler, didn't have it. And Erickson brings it back out. Second possession of the second half for Dunlap, and it ends in a 3. Lily Sutter knocks it down.
Yeah, good job spotting up. Able just to 1-2 into the shot. Don't overthink it. Let it fly.
Lily Sutter off to a strong start, half number 2. Panthers still looking for their first points of the half. Here's Duncan over to Wilson. Now it's Wilson to Vaughn. Corner and Duncan, who has had success from the perimeter tonight. Did not see a lot of threes in the early stages of this one. First quarter and a half, perimeter was pretty quiet, and then it started to heat up. Here's Kimler to McDougal. Swung around, now Vaughn goes to Kimler, who spins, can't score. McDougal the rebound, back to Kimler. Loose ball, Duncan has it. And now Duncan, up top to Wilson, goes to Vaughn for a 3, and she responds to Lily Sutter with a 3 of her own.
And once again, Joey, they got the ball into the high post, the quick pass right back outside, and another distant shot. 3
points now for Vaughn, and that'll be a travel on the offensive end for Dunlap. Eagles will make a change. Erickson is out, and Haley is back in. Cody, that's the mark of a good team. Washington has proven themselves as just that, as they've opened this season at 7-1. When you can respond to a 3, maybe just a slight point of hope for an opponent who's down with something that keeps them down, that's when you really know you're putting it all together.
Absolutely, Joe. And again, they're just playing good team basketball. It'd be easy to say just give McDougal the ball and get out of the way, right? I mean, Division I commit and got everything going for her at the next level, but she's doing a great job of sharing the basketball and making the team first decision.
Free throw does not fall from Kimler. McDougal only has 4 points thus far, really facilitating. Doing a good job of, as you said, sharing the rock. It's what makes both of these teams so hard to scout, Cody, and I know it's not going Dunlap's way right now, but you know, you look at Sophia Remmel, add Lily Sutter into that mix for Dunlap. I mean, that's a formidable 1-2 punch. You look at Washington, what they have with Claire McDougal, Georgia Duncan, and Addison Kimler's had a terrific performance tonight. When you've got those dynamic duos, trios, and just generally deep rosters like both of these teams have, it's so hard to get the scout down because you shut one of them down. You know, it's like whack-a-mole. They start opening up, and other players step up with big nights. Remmel off the mark.
Yeah, good job keeping the pivot foot alive. They're able to spin free, get up a good look at the hoop, but got to just take a little bit more off of it. They've had a couple of those just go careening off the glass.
McDougal goes to work. Nearly lost it out of bounds, but tapped away and last touched by Dunlap. "23 seconds away from our masked timeout here in the third quarter. Duncan on the inbound, goes to Vaughn, back to Duncan. She goes down low to McDougal, who turns around, gets blocked. And Sutter will run the offense. Great chance here for Dunlap in the third quarter to stay the course, see what they can get going. Remmel drawing a foul. McDougal the guilty party. That'll be her third. And the first team foul for the Panthers. 4 minutes and 4 seconds into this third quarter. 4 minutes and 6 seconds into this third quarter, that would be. First free throw in from Remmel. And our masked timeout is upon us. This gym, the Raymond Artori Gymnasium, played host to the Kevin Brown Memorial Tournament of Champions just a few weeks ago. Advertisements for that event, its sponsors, and everyone who was a part of that still on the walls. How about a chance to thank our sponsor? Tonight it's Jake Weston, State Farm Insurance, right here in Washington, Illinois, for all of your insurance needs. Jake Weston is your guy. Give him a call, 309-444-4441. His office just outside of the square here in Washington. And he's online at jakewestoninsurance.com. Jake Weston State Farm, proud sponsor and a proud partner of Clutch Sports Media. There is the logo for the Kevin Brown Memorial Tournament of Champions. Great efforts to raise money for the KB Strong Foundation. Kevin Brown, late Washington Panthers boys basketball coach, for whom the KB Strong Foundation is named. Now the KB Strong raising awareness for glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain cancer. That was the best part of the TOC in my eyes, Cody, was just being a part of the fundraising efforts, raising awareness in Coach Brown's name for a terrific organization, KB Strong, that seeks to raise awareness and money, research to be developed for treatments and hopefully a cure one day for glioblastoma.
Absolutely, Joey. I'm right there with you. We had a lot of great people come and talk to us about the KB Strong Foundation during the TOC, and I'm right there with you. It was a great experience. Foul called. Washington and Claire McDougal going to the line. A lot of good basketball, too, of course. A lot of future Division I men's basketball talent on the floor. Hansel Emanuel put on a terrific show. One-armed player from Life Christian Academy in Florida. Drew a lot of fans here. Really good St. Rita team as well. Did you call any of their games? Did you happen to see St. Rita, Morez Johnson Jr. and James Brown?
I was able to catch a couple of them, Joey. I don't think I was on the call for either of them that we had during the TOC, but that's a team just full of hoopers. I mean, playing out of Chicago, it's almost kind of a given, right? Playing in that Chicago Catholic League, and that is a team that's got a lot of weapons.
Morez Johnson Jr., Illinois commit. A lot of people hoping James Brown follows in his footsteps, and Dunlap follows one through the basket. Deficit stemmed back to 20. Carly Vaughn in the corner, and now it's Duncan. And Cody, if Dunlap can get a couple, maybe force a couple quick turnovers, knock in a couple quick scores, and get this one maybe to 14, 12 points. Continue that run into the fourth quarter. Not over yet. That's not to take anything away from Washington and the game they've played thus far. Foul called there on Sutter. Third foul against the Eagles this half.
Yeah, Joey, just to build off of that, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's got to start somewhere, though. At some point, you've got to be able to put the ball in the basket, and through 2/3 quarters of basketball so far, we really just haven't seen Dunlap be able to consistently do that. Not to say that they're incapable of it, but so far tonight, just very tight lid on the basket for them.
It just has not gone the way of the Eagles tonight, but everything's falling for the Panthers. That's Addison Kimmler again. Washington out to a dominant effort. Foul called there will go against Dunlap, and you can see Kimmler fired up. The Panthers bench is fired up.
I would be too, Joey. I mean, I also played high school basketball, and anytime you're able to get up big, it gets players who maybe normally don't get a chance to get into the game in the fourth quarter or a little bit of some burn in terms of minutes, and it's a fun experience. But for the other side, you've got to try and find a way to cut this down.
McDougal out the door as she gives chase to that one. That one will stay with Dunlap. Washington just one loss this season. That was in a tournament against Springfield, November 20th. They started the season out with a 51-18 win over Glenwood on the 16th of November. Bounced back from the Springfield loss on the morning of the 20th with a win over Rock Island on the afternoon of November 20th to improve to 2-1. And then since then, consecutive wins against Sacred Heart Griffin and Springfield, Normal West, Limestone, Pekin, and Normal West again. Those Normal West wins, one of them was previously scheduled, the other was part of a tournament. So 2 wins against the Wildcats. And 7 wins overall for Washington. Panthers will look to keep it going against a really good Eureka team tomorrow. That'll be at 2:30 right here on ClutchSportsIL.com. So mark your calendars for that one and join us for some Saturday afternoon basketball. Down low and a foul called on the floor as McDougal takes it up.
Yeah, good job though running that high-low action. Kimmler, if she wanted to either had the open jump shot or the drive. I mean, McDougal had a great seal on the baseline, but just tried to share the rock a little bit more and able to draw the foul.
And she will inbound. That is the 3rd foul against Sutter. 1 more and the Panthers are in the 1-1 bonus the rest of the way out. Here's Vaughn. Now back to Vaughn. And down low, Duncan. Duncan up, no good. Dunlap will bring it ahead. And they'll slow it down here, perhaps looking to hold for the final shot of the quarter. See if they maybe get the offense moving a little quicker. Open down low, an easy basket. Nice find as Chandler Fassett lays it up and in. And Washington can close the 3rd quarter out with the last shot. Here's Vaughn. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. McDougal at the buzzer. Falls short, and that's how the 3rd quarter will end. Panthers ahead by 20, 40-20 after 3.
Yeah, Joey, again, just more of the same. Washington doing a great job of playing good team defense. Not really forcing one player to accumulate any fouls, and on the offensive side, doing a good job of sharing the ball. Dunlap doing a better job of that here in the second half. That's why they're able to score a little bit more here to this point.
Quick word for Jake Weston Insurance. Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois, for all your insurance needs. give Jake from State Farm a call at 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. I asked him ways back, I said, Jake, do you ever play up that Jake from State Farm angle? He said, of course, you have to. It's almost obligatory, right? Jake from State Farm, he's on your screen, bottom right, the big red box, 309-444-4441. Panthers will hit 4-4 with two more two-pointers. They've built a nice lead over the Dunlap Eagles through the first 3 quarters, looking to close this one out. Five on the floor for the Panthers. It's Duncan, Wilson, McDougal, Kimler, and Vaughn as they start the third quarter off, or rather the fourth quarter off. Dunlap rolling with Solberger, Sutter, Erickson, Sutter, or not Sutter again, but rather that would be Remmel, and the fifth on the floor for the Eagles is Haley. And Sutter will inbound. Talked about the Washington Panthers schedule and how their season has gone a minute ago. Dunlap ball in hand. Their season has not started just as they would have liked it to, but they'll like that basket from Bree Erickson. Just one win against Limestone thus far for the Eagles. Tough losses in there against Notre Dame, Morton, O'Fallon, and Peoria High School, although Peoria the #1 ranked team in the 3A class right now. But Cody, they've scheduled tough slate to open things up, and they've run into a 7-1, perhaps soon to be 8-1 Washington team that looks like it's the real deal. You've got to figure once their schedule perhaps lightens up and they're able to tweak a few things, get a couple of things installed, this is going to be a dangerous Dunlap team that could peak towards the end of the season and really be a force to be reckoned with going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think if it's going to start somewhat from Dunlap, Joey. They either have to find a system to where, they can get efficient-looking shots, because right now that's really what's kind of been their kryptonite so far. They've had to run their offense a good 25, 30 feet away from the basket more often than not tonight.
And when you get to the basket, good things will happen. And one for Julia Solberger.
And a good job that time, Joey, by Solberger. Able to drive with the left, go up strong, take the contact, and get the uno mas at the line.
See if she can finish the and one. No, loose ball, still loose. And a timeout called by Kim Barth and the Panthers before Dunlap could make that, or rather contest that any further than it was. But still a good look and a good finish from Solberger, even though the and one does not fall.
And I think that Dunlap was arguing there, Joey, that they didn't have possession of the ball, so how could they be in a position to call timeout? But nevertheless,
that's how it goes sometimes.
Yep, just one of the breaks of basketball, I guess. You take the give and the go and the highs with the lows.
Next jump ball arrow will favor Dunlap if they can get to that point. That'll be to Dunlap's point. They argue, hey, that could have been right there.
Yeah, and 18 is about as low as it's been for Dunlap here in the last quarter and a half. So, again, that bench is believing right now, but it's up to the 5 on the floor to try and get the job done.
See if the Eagles can cut into this one. It is the smallest it's been in quite a while, referring to the Eagles' deficit. It's got to start with a stop. Washington showing no signs of going into full stall mode quite yet. Sutter nearly comes up with the steal. And Cody, even if you're down 18 here, obviously if they were to come all the way back, maybe that's a little overly optimistic as Duncan finds a lane and scores. But if you can close out these last 6 minutes with couple baskets, couple stops, maybe get this one to 10 points when it's all said and done. A lot of people don't believe in moral victories, but maybe you go into the locker room after this one with a little momentum, having finished out strong, and maybe that makes an impact for next time out. Good effort on the defensive end there. Duncan gets it back, and the Panthers will reset. Turnover forced. Dunlap runs. It's Erickson. Erickson behind her to Remmel. Goes over to Solberger. Up top, Sutter 3. Short off the front of the rim, and the rebound corralled by Claire McDougal, that would be.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity there for Dunlap. You'd like to see him push the tempo. I know they're probably wanting to pull it out and try and get a for sure look at the basket, but you got a 2-on-3, try and go up strong, maybe get the foul, put points on the board with the clock stopped, or you maybe, who knows, get the foul and one, but got to try and get the ball moving a little quicker, I guess.
Kimmler fouled by Sutter. And it's Sutter's 4th foul. And so it is Kimmler who has, much like Duncan, really keyed a lot of the offense. Free throw falls. In comes Georgie Kirtley, who is back into the game for Dunlap, and Kimmler's 2nd free throw rims out.
But again, though, Joey, just another offensive rebound, and Duncan again.
Duncan didn't have that one. Still loose, and Remmel comes out of there with it. Remmel runs the offense. Remmel, one of the most impressive players in the conference last season as a sophomore, but Claire McDougal steps up to show why she's going to play for the Bradley Braves. Bradley, in its own right, has been one of the most impressive teams in the Missouri Valley Conference last few seasons. Missouri Valley Conference champions last year, downing Drake in the title game, and that time McDougal's going to get called for the foul. 2 free throws coming up.
Yeah, again, though, the aggressive take, you got to try and put points up somehow. With the clock stopped and at the line, it's one of the best, I guess, opportunities you would get.
And so Remmel to the stripe, but back to McDougal. Could slide in and be a big piece of that Bradley attack early on. It showed in this one, even though she hasn't lit up the scorebook, that she can do it all. She's been kind of an anchor on the defensive end, has facilitated a lot of offense, scored some points as well, of course. McDougal stepping, went up, didn't attempt it, and it goes back to Duncan now. McDougal, ball fake, looking baseline, tried to kick it back to Kimmler. Kimmler trying to get after that one. Left, right, didn't know where to dive. Finally committed, and a jump ball called. Panthers not letting up here, even ahead by 20. And these programs have a lot of respect for each other, but a good chance to run through maybe some good live scout things and close things out strong. So we go inside of 4 minutes to play and a masked timeout. Quick word again for Jake Weston, State Farm Insurance in Washington, Illinois. For all your insurance needs, give Jake Weston a call at 309-444-4441 or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Have a halftime score to report from the Mid-Illini Conference. It's a boys basketball score, 26-24, Metamora leading Limestone. And that is at Metamora. Interesting halftime score there because, you know, Metamora is forecasted to be right up at the top of the boys basketball standings in the Mid-Illini this year, but Limestone has come out of the gates swinging. Big win against Washington the other day, and
it's a Mid-Illini smack talk, I guess, going on Twitter after that one.
Of course. We got brought into the mix there as well.
All in good fun.
Of course. And that's a good line. You know, when Limestone is firing on all cylinders, that's not a place you want to play. The Limestone student section really gets behind their team. They could be up to something in the Mid-Illini this season. They've got work to do, though, down 2 at Metamora at halftime. McDougal goes back to Vaughn. Now Duncan. Duncan cheating everywhere on the floor. Pass nearly intercepted by Solberger. It's McDougal. And the Panthers looking for a good shot, but not overly eager to force something that's not there, ahead by 18. If you're just joining us, the Panthers opened this lead out early. 19-2 run that started things out. They haven't looked back since. And they finished that possession with a bucket. Dunlap has had a better second half, just dug a hole that they couldn't get out of. Remmel off the mark, Duncan the rebound. And Vaughn. Look at that pass to McDougal down low. That'll be an assist for Vaughn and 2 points for Claire McDougal.
McDougal just doing it all right now. Joey able to score. Good job of orchestrating the offense with the passing. And, of course, she sets the table as well defensively.
She absolutely does. Dunlap now trying to find something open, and an easy basket that time for Peyton Haley. Have a quick stoppage for subs, and the Panthers will bring on an entirely new 5. Dunlap will sprinkle in some subs. We'll get those for you here in just a moment. We'll start with Washington. Their 5 on the floor is Krista Bass, Natalie Vandevoort alongside. Want to make sure I pick up everyone else here. Paige Miller is on the floor for the Panthers. As is Avery Strickler and Alexa Maley. Wanted to make sure I had everyone there. Had a hard time picking out Strickler's number. Strickler number 21 in white. Loose ball on the floor. Jump ball will be called. Want to toss in a quick apology as well, Cody. Alexa Maley, I think I said male earlier in the show. Clarify it is Maley. Apologize for the oversight. She started the game for the Panthers and has had a nice performance thus far. For Dunlap, as they get back on the defensive end, Whitney Bohannon is on the floor. She's joined by Chandler Fassett. Foul and 1. For Vandevoort. Georgie Kirtley on the floor as well, as is Brooklyn Chatterton. And maybe the slowest 5 on the floor of all time. I'm really dragging this one out to mention that, pardon me, well, hold on a minute. How many Dunlap players have I named?
Joey, this is why we're communications majors. We have trouble counting.
Count. I don't know if I've gone through them all. I apologize.
Well, you know, it's a good thing. Our hands do indeed have 5 fingers, so it's okay. Just take it slow.
Oh, my goodness. That pass was tipped by Bree Erickson, the 5th on the. There we go for the Eagles. She gets in, tips that pass. Erickson was a starter for Dunlap this evening. 30 seconds left. Washington set to improve to 8-1 on the season. 3 on the way for Erickson. Off the mark, rebound, and a foul on the way up for Fassett. And Cody, when we recap this one and tell the final story, I don't think it'll be necessarily that Dunlap played poorly. They did get off to a bit of a slow start, but corrected those mistakes as best they could. Washington was just on it from the jump. A complete effort. Everyone on the floor working as a unit. A couple different players stepping up to find the basket. Duncan, Kimmler, and McDougal, and it would have been tough for anyone in the Mid-Illini Conference or beyond to hang with Washington the way they played at home in this one.
Yeah, Joey, I mean, again, what more can I really say about Washington to this point in the game? They had a great defensive game plan going in. They executed their offense pretty efficiently. They've been a little more sloppy here in the second half as we see ball and bodies hit the hardwood here, but last couple of seconds run off. It's a decisive one at that.
And the Panthers put a bow on this one, a 48-31 win over Dunlap. A strong win and a big statement here on their home floor to improve to 8-1 on the young season. Dunlap still with just 1 win on the campaign, and they will look to get things going back on track. They'll be at Canton on January 4th. An incomplete schedule. That's among their next couple of games. For Washington, Panthers look to keep things going tomorrow right here on this floor against Eureka, and they're at home on Tuesday against Morton. Eureka looking really good this season. Hornets are 9-1. That's a 2:30 start right here in this room on ClutchSportsIL.com. One more word for Jake Weston Insurance. Jake Weston State Farm in Washington, Illinois. Give them a call, 309-444-4441, or visit JakeWestonInsurance.com. Want to thank him for his support tonight and all season long. Cody Roskins, any final thoughts?
Just, again, Joey, a complete effort from the Panthers tonight. Dunlap had some things to really, look back on tonight and say we could definitely do better on, but they also had some really good bright spots as well. But at the end of the day, a 17-point loss is a 17-point loss, and so they're going to have to necessarily do some soul-searching here, but with just 1 win through their point in the season, it's time to take a look in the mirror and see what can we get better at here as they head back into practice.
And a team that has all the tools to do just that. The Eagles will be okay, but tonight belongs to the Panthers. 48-31 win. Our entire crew consists of Rodrigo Perez behind our camera, runs a mean camera. Excellent looks all night long in our game and beyond. Jonathan Michael behind our computer. Did a great job. The score looked updated all night long, best as I could tell. Good job, Jonathan Michael. Josh Schwam, I'm sure, took some stunning photographs that you'll be able to find on our social media pages, our Facebook for the full album, Instagram for the best 10. And the coach, Cody Roskins, alongside me. Great insight all night long. I'm Joey Wright, signing off from Washington. Panthers get the job done tonight. 48-31 final score. Join us tomorrow for a doubleheader right here in Washington. Panthers and the Hornets at 2:30. Girls game and the Panthers and the Potters. Boys action at 6:30. Thanks for watching this presentation of Clutch Sports Media.